Former President Trump will be at a rally in Vegas tonight as Republicans are beating Democrats in early voting turnout there for the first time since '08. Here's the numbers so far. 17,000 more registered Republicans have voted so far than Democrats. Democrats hold a slight lead in Vegas and the Reno areas, but outside of that, Republican turnout nearly 3 times that of Democrats. And it's not a foregone conclusion. Former President Obama won the state in '08 despite the early vote surge from Republicans. Right now, Trump has a 0.1% lead in that state, according to our partners at Decision Desk HQ. A Republican hasn't won the state since Bush in '04. Remember, former President Trump announced his no tax on tips plan, and Nevada has the highest percent of leisure and hospitality workers in the country. Vice President Harris backs the same plan. Joining us now is Gabby Birenbaum, the D.C. correspondent at the Nevada Independent. Hi there. Thanks for being here. How significant is it that Republicans are leading in Nevada in early voting turnout so far?
Yeah, this is a big deal. Typically what you see in Nevada elections between mail and early vote is that Democrats will build up, what's typically called a firewall in Clark County. And then Republicans need election day vote to sort of run the numbers back up and make it close. Right now, and it's still really early, I want to say, we're seeing the opposite effect. We're seeing the Democratic lead in Clark has shrunk. Right now, it's about 4.5%. By way of comparison, Biden won Clark County by 9%. And we're seeing high turnout in the rurals where Republicans really dominate. So right now, all that is contributing to Republicans having, as you mentioned, that 17,000 vote lead right now in terms of registered Republicans versus registered Democrats. One dynamic I would bring up is that the difference between 2020 and 2024 has been an explosion of registered nonpartisans. And so the key factor that we don't know yet are who are independents breaking for.
Do we know how accurate the early voting numbers are in terms of predicting outcomes?
So my boss, John Ralston, is really good at this, right? He's used early voting data in the past several elections to accurately predict who wins. He's said it's going to be a lot harder this year because of that explosion of nonpartisans. So because we don't know who a significant portion of the electorate is casting their ballot for, just using registered Republicans versus registered Democrats is going to be tougher. Also, a lot of the turnout modeling will assume that each candidate is going to get about 90% of their base. Democrats obviously are hopeful through all their outreach, Liz Cheney, all those types of events, that they can peel away some of the Republican vote among registered Republicans. And they're also hopeful that a lot of these registered nonpartisans are younger Democrats who just sort of registered and didn't select a party or were automatically registered at the DMV. So those are some of the open factors. But certainly if you're looking at these numbers and about 20% of the vote is in, if we're going by turnout numbers from 2020, this is all really encouraging signs for Republicans.
Of the nonpartisans, what do we know are the top issues driving and influencing their vote and decision?
I think it's the same across party. It's the same, especially with nonpartisans. It's the economy, right? That's the big deal in all states. But in Nevada, people often say that if the national economy sneezes, Nevada catches a cold, right? Because the first thing that's going to get cut from anyone's budget is that trip to Vegas. It's, an industry, the hospitality industry is the dominant industry there. And so unemployment in Nevada is still higher than the rest of the country. They're still feeling some of those effects from COVID as they work to diversify their economy a bit. And so I think you're seeing economic issues. The cost of housing is a really big deal. Nevada has had tons of in-migration from California, and so there's a lot more people in the housing market. There's been underbuilding there since the Great Recession. So cost of housing, cost of food, cost of gas, all on people's minds.
All right, all important issues. Gabby, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.